Mary Slessor and the Twins of Calabar. This is a true life story. In the late 19th century, deep within the dense rainforests of Calabar in southeastern Nigeria, a tragic and chilling practice haunted the Efik people. A practice that stole the lives of countless innocent babies, all because they were born as twins. Among the Efik, twins were believed to be a curse, a sign that evil spirits had infiltrated a family, bringing misfortune and death. They believed that one of the twins was always possessed, and that both children had to be killed to protect the community from the supposed wrath that would follow. The fear of twins ran deep among the Efik people during the reign of King Edidemio Honesty VIII, who ruled with an iron will, determined to preserve the traditions handed down by his forefathers. Under his leadership, the belief in curses and spirits persisted, and so did the practice of abandoning twins in the Ibak Akpa, a dark, dense forest known as the Evil Forest. The forest was shrouded in thick undergrowth, its air heavy with the smell of decay. It was said that no one who entered Ibak Akpa would return, as it was a realm where the spirits roamed freely. Mothers who gave birth to twins were seen as cursed and unclean. Their babies were often taken to Ibak Akpa by a group of men known as the Ikop Ndibi, the appointed enforcers of tradition. Among these men were Etubama Sukwo, an elder known for his unyielding loyalty to the old ways, Ekpenyong Ita, a staunch believer in the curse, and Abong Okon, whose heart had long grown cold to the cries of the abandoned. Alongside them were the youths, Effiong Ukpong Basi Adet, Udo Akong, Effiam, Offiong and many others, who carried out the grim task under the elders' direction. They would take the newborns deep into Ibak Akpa, laying them on the forest floor to die, while the heartbroken mothers were left to mourn in silence. The practice had persisted for generations, but in the late 1800s, a young Scottish missionary named Mary Slessor arrived in Calabar. She had heard stories of the practice and felt a fire in her heart, a determination to save these children, to bring hope where there was only despair. Mary Slessor was no stranger to hardship. She had grown up in poverty in Dundee, Scotland, and had learned early on what it meant to fight for survival. But nothing prepared her for the heart-wrenching reality she encountered in the forests of Calabar. One fateful day, as Mary walked through a remote village, she heard the faint cries of babies. Following the sound, she stumbled upon a sight that would haunt her dreams for years to come. Two tiny infants, barely able to open their eyes, lay abandoned on the cold, damp ground beneath a thick canopy of trees in Ibak Akpa. Their frail bodies were covered in leaves, left alone to face the elements, to be consumed by animals, or to simply wither away in silence. Mary Slessor knelt beside them, her hands trembling as she scooped the babies into her arms. They were weak, their breaths shallow, their cries barely a whisper. Tears filled her eyes as she realized the extent of their the horror they were born into. She knew that if she took them back to the village, she would face the wrath of the villagers. They would accuse her of bringing a curse upon them, of defying the spirits. But Mary could not bring herself to leave the children to their fate. She carried the twins back to her small hut, wrapping them in the warmest blankets she could find, feeding them with the little nourishment she had. That night, as she rocked them to sleep, Mary made a vow. She would fight for them and for every other child who faced this fate. She would challenge the belief that condemned these children to death. But she knew it would not be easy. When word spread that Mary had taken in the twins, the villagers were outraged. They gathered outside her hut, chanting and shouting, demanding that she return the children to Ibak Akpa before they brought disaster upon everyone. They told her of the evil spirits, the terrible fate that awaited anyone who dared to defy tradition. But Mary stood her ground, facing their anger with a calm that concealed her own fear. She spoke to them of love, of the innocence of children, of a God who did not seek their blood. For many nights, Mary stayed awake, guarding the twins, knowing that at any moment, someone might come to take them away. She prayed for strength, for the courage to keep fighting, even when hope seemed like a distant dream. And gradually, her kindness began to soften the hearts of a few villagers. They watched as she nursed the children back to health, as they grew stronger under her care. Some began to question the beliefs they had clung to for so long, but not everyone was convinced. One dark night, while a heavy rainstorm raged outside, Mary heard footsteps approaching her hut. She opened the door to find a woman, soaked and shivering, cradling a newborn in her arms. The woman's face was stained with tears, her eyes wide with fear. She had just given birth to twins and had come to Mary, desperate for help. She whispered that Etubama Sukwo and the Ikop Ndibi were coming for her babies, that they would take them away before dawn. Mary took the children into her arms and hid them beneath her bed, covering them with blankets to muffle their cries. As the rain pounded against the roof, the elders arrived, their faces stern and unforgiving. They demanded to search her hut, insisting that she could not protect the cursed children. But Mary, with a fierceness in her voice that surprised even herself, stood in the doorway, refusing to move. She told them that the twins were not cursed, that they were children deserving of life and love. Her words cut through the darkness, but the elders' anger remained. After what felt like an eternity, the elders turned away, leaving with a warning that she would pay dearly for defying their will. Mary knew then that her mission was far from over, but she also knew that she had made a difference, that she had saved 2 more lives, even if the cost was her own safety. In the years that followed, Mary's influence grew, and more mothers began to come to her for help, nevertheless their own lives to save their babies. She traveled deeper into the forest, to villages that had never seen an outsider, sharing stories of the children she had saved. Slowly, she began to change the hearts of the people, showing them that the love of a mother for her child was stronger than any curse. But the struggle took a toll on Mary. The nights spent fighting fear and superstition wore her down, and the weight of the lives she couldn't save haunted her. She fell ill many times, her body weakened by the harsh conditions, but she never wavered in her mission. The twins she had first rescued grew up, calling her mother, and she held on to their laughter as a reminder of the hope she had brought to their world. Mary Slessor died in 1915, her body finally succumbing to the years of hardship. But by then, she had become a legend, a symbol of compassion, courage, and the power to change even the darkest of traditions. The practice of killing twins in Calabar began to fade, replaced by a new understanding of life's value. Villagers came to honor her, building a simple memorial in her name, and sharing the stories of the woman who had fought for their children. The story of Mary Slessor and the twins of Calabar is one of sorrow, sacrifice, and unyielding love. It is a story of a woman who faced down an entire culture's fears to save the most vulnerable. And even as her memory fades, the echoes of her compassion continue to live on in the lives of the descendants of those she saved, in the children who now play under the sun, no longer fearing the shadows of the forest. Mary's legacy remains as a testament to the power of a single life to change the course of history, and to the depth of love that can move even the most unmovable hearts.